Ever wonder how some people effortlessly balance a packed schedule without burning out? After years as a neuropsychologist, entrepreneur, and mom, I've cracked the code to mastering, not serving, the clock. So in this video, I'm going to show you my proven hybrid calendar method that makes organizing your time easier and stress-free. To start, let me show you the hidden mistake that is killing your productivity before you even glance at your calendar. Imagine trying to complete a complex puzzle without ever seeing the picture on the box. You'd waste time guessing, forcing pieces where they don't belong, feeling frustrated, lost, and stuck. That's exactly how life feels when you're busy without intention. Your calendar fills up randomly, and soon life starts living you instead of you living life. Reverse goal setting is the solution. It's like having the puzzle's finished picture clearly in mind first, allowing you to intentionally place each piece of your time exactly where it belongs, creating a purposeful, fulfilling life. That's why inside my course, actually, to Systemize Your Goals, I teach my students reverse goal setting before we ever dive into any specific time management strategies. Here's how it works. It's a clear step-by-step process you can follow for yourself as well. So one is to just clarify your values. You're gonna get crystal clear on what's truly important to you. These values will guide every decision that you make. Step two is to define what I call your sun goals. These are your 5-year goals and your bigger vision. These are your big picture dreams, the life you actually really deeply desire to create. Third is to set your moon goals. These are your 1 to 3 year milestone goals. These are called your midterm goals in the 12-week year and serve as stepping stones and give you clarity and momentum towards your sun goals. 4 is to develop your winning strategy, which most people leave out. This is where you will outline the essential steps and habits you'll need to consistently move toward your moon and sun goals. And then after that, you have your strategy. You're going to do number 5, which is to organize your calendar intentionally. Using your strategy, you're going to structure your calendar around your 12-week year, your monthly, weekly, and daily goals. Of these steps, the most crucial calendar organization happens at the weekly level. That's exactly what we're going to focus on in this video. But before diving into weekly planning, it's essential to understand that much of your groundwork has already been laid by using this intentional reverse goal setting system. But given that weekly planning is the most important to staying on track with your intentions, how do you know if you're doing it right and not wasting time? So let's talk about that next. My weekly planning starts with a weekly review. So we're actually going to move over to my laptop so I can show you exactly that process of organizing my calendar at the weekly level. Okay guys, so I'm going to walk you through a demonstration of how I do my weekly review and prioritize my task in my weekly review. This Notion template, you can also get it in a PDF, but get the Notion template in the PDF of my exact weekly review system for free in the description below. And so I'm just gonna go over it, a demonstration version, because if I get into mine, I'll show you guys all of my business. So when I first get in here, you do have like a instructional video if you want to know how I use this template in detail. Here I have just some notes to help you remember to prepare before you jump into reviewing your week and planning your future week, clearing your desk, tidying your workspace, filing away notes, and capturing any last minute tasks. And then I do have this Pomodoro timer just to make sure it gives you that urgency to not be lollygagging, to get in here and get it done so it doesn't take you so long. So the first thing that I go through is my weekly lead goals, which if you click here, I have linked my 12-week year Notion template. I go through my lead goals, which are those weekly actionable things that I'm tracking to reach my 12-week year goal. So I will review how I did for the week. I also have next to track the metrics that matter. So tracking things like revenue, if you're on social media, tracking whatever social media metrics that are important to you, those sorts of things. So tracking metrics that matter, aligning with your monthly goals. So each time I walk into planning any segment, I like to look back at just the previous segment. So when I'm planning the week, I look back at my monthly goals just to make sure that I'm staying on track. When I'm planning the month, I look back at the quarter. When I'm planning the quarter, I look back at the year. During the week to week, I just have to look back at the month. So I do that, align with my monthly goals. This is also in my Notion 12-week year template as well. And then I moved into checking my flagged emails and add any needed tasks that come up from those flagged emails. So I do use my email inbox as an inbox. And so during the week, if there's an email that I don't need to get to urgently, but I know I want to take care of, I will flag it. And then here is when I will process that. If there's any task I need to do from that email, this is when I will add it to capture that task before I get into planning my week. I'll also glance over my someday maybe projects. So if you are a creative or an entrepreneur who gets a lot of ideas, it's good to have like a someday maybe projects database or folder. That way you're not getting distracted and like squirrel and running off to do things, but you want to look in there every week. There's some weeks I'm so busy, I'm like, there's no way I can add a new project, but just to see if there's anything from that list that you want to add. Then I move into reviewing projects and any needed tasks. So we'll look at this demo here. I am on a demo version of my second brain. So in the demo, you'll see projects here. I'll look at the projects. This is a demonstration, and I'll look at my projects and I will see, are there any tasks that I need to add to the list? Like, let's say for Christian's birthday party, this is, you know, an example, so there's nothing in here, but let's say I want to book the venue. I have 2 birthday party examples in here, one for my daughter too. Let's say I want to book the venue for Christian's party, right? I'll add that task and that'll show up on my task list related to this project. Or let's say I have a project here of getting the business trademarked. Maybe I need to research trademark lawyers, and I would put that there and that'll go in my task inbox. So then I would, let's say we have done all of this. Checked my emails, reviewed my projects, adding text. Then I go into checking my paper mail, my paper inbox. So I will just reach into this drawer right here, usually is where I have my inbox for my paper mail, and add any needed tasks to my task in my second brain. Okay, then we get into like the meat of it, which I will show you guys. So let's go back to the cover of my Notion second brain. This is when you'll see I have the note to process tasks. So if you open that, that means to clarify your inbox items, digital and in real life. We've already done the email. We've already done our physical. Now it's our second brain, so it's linked there. But I have it open here, so let's look at that. So these under your tasks, so just to take a look at what my second brain Notion template looks like if you are interested in grabbing it. This is the dashboard page. Then you can go into task here. This is a demo. You will see all the tasks that you captured during the week. So this is just an example of tasks that, let's say, I captured throughout the week and I haven't processed yet, and then we'll move into processing those. We don't have any active tasks, but this is, again, just a demonstration. You likely will. And then you'll have a list of all your completed tasks as well. Or sorry, this is a complete task list of everything. So I have one item on hold here. Let's put that in the inbox just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so schedule checkup for son. Let's say I need to do that in the following. So this is the day that I'm filming this. So let's say it doesn't need to be done this week, but it needs to get done this week. I'll put the due date and I'll put it as scheduled. Finalize Q2 marketing presentation. Let's say that I need to get that done on the 10th. Scheduled. Okay, so you move it all scheduled. Submit project report to manager. Let's say that that needs to get done next week by next Thursday, and I will mark that as due next since it needs to get done in the coming week. Same thing with this one. Let's say needs to get done in the coming week. This one too. Let's say I want to get that done by then. Due next. Schedule handyman. Same thing. That's probably pretty urgent. Due next. I usually do these weekly reviews on Fridays, so same thing with the air filter. That's probably urgent. Okay, So those are probably all the items I'm going to pretend like I need to do next week. And then I will schedule or process the rest. So let's say book conference tickets. Let's say that I am waiting for my supervisor to get back to me and to see if we actually have the budget for this. So I'm going to click that as waiting for. I'm going to put this updating my profile on LinkedIn on hold because I haven't really decided if I'm actually going to get on to LinkedIn. So this is something I still want to think about next time when I process my tasks, but I haven't made a decision. These you can see are related to projects. Everything is linked in my Notion Second Brain. And this is linked to Layla's birthday and Christian's birthday and my trademark. You can also link things to different life areas like social media, personal life, those kinds of things. So buying goodie bags, let's say I want to get that done, not next week, but the following week. I'm just going to work through these quickly. Okay, so now I've processed all the tasks in my inbox. Now you can see here it's in my active tasks. So anything that is active that needs to be worked on is here or that I'm waiting for. Everything in red I need to add to my paper planner to get scheduled for the coming week. And these are things that are scheduled for further out. If you had any tasks that were past due, so let's say that these dates had passed, they would show up here. And then you can see on the calendar here, you have all your tasks show up as well. So let's go back to our weekly review. Now that we've processed that, we processed in our inbox scheduled and postponed. Next is to move due next items to our weekly planner, which we'll get into just in a second. We've organized those remaining actions. So if we had any life area task here, we would add them to our weekly planner as well. Let me just show you what that looks like here. You'll go to your life areas. And let's see, for social media, it jogs your memory. You maybe have a trigger list to script videos or to film videos. You would add that to your paper planner as well. So you just kind of look at your life areas and you kind of see, is there anything needed that's kind of ongoing that you haven't captured during the week as well, so those things don't fall into the cracks. That's what that is referring to. Let's say we did that, and then I'll get into this in just a second as well. You're going to input your meetings and events, like your non-negotiables, from your digital calendar, like your weekly routines, meetings, appointments, those must-dos, also in your paper planner, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But here's the thing, your weekly review is only half the battle. Next, I'll show you how to organize your weekly calendar to maximize productivity and efficiency. Planning your week using my method is like painting by numbers. There's no guessing where to put things, and at the end, you've made a masterpiece without all of the stress. When it comes to planning my week, I use my BBB method, and I'm going to jump in and show you that now. Okay, so when it comes to planning my weeks, I use my BBB method. And the first B starts with booking. So the first thing that I do when I come into my weekly plan is I have all those due next items. So I am reusing a demonstration that I did from another video just for the sake of time. There's no point of me writing this all out, but it starts off with me putting the date of the week, my week's intention, also listing those due next items and trigger items that I just got done deciding on from my weekly review. Also, I do a little weekly prep, and then here at the bottom, which you can't see in the shot, is my habits and routines tracker and my Mod Ambition planner. Also, before I get started, I put my batch days on the side here. But starting, the first B is booking. So what I do is in these brown highlighted areas, these are all meetings and weekly routines that you are transferring from your digital calendar. I will put a screenshot on the screen of an example from my iCal. I just transfer all my meetings, appointments, and weekly routines. Those are my non-negotiables here. Then all the tasks that I determined to be due next and for this week from my life areas, I transfer them over here. So that's to my batch days. So this is my admin day. So I put all the admin things like order air filters, call the handyman, those admin things, personal and professional. This is just a demonstration. Business development day. So this is a day that I have left open in this demonstration, but I would typically have something there that I need to get done for the business, some task over here. I would put it there. The scripting, the 4 videos, you see I have moved here. The filming, the 4 videos is on the filming day for Friday. The the reviewing reports is on the neuropsych day. So I moved these items over here where they fit around those meetings like a puzzle. And then the last B is blocking. So that's where I will time block out my day. So in the Mod Ambition Planner, my planner, you have all kinds of planning pages. First of all, you have a goal planner. You have quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily planning pages. So now I'm moving over to the daily planning pages. I would typically leave these parts to fill out the day of, but I will put in those meetings. So first I put in those meetings, and then I look at what I determined for that day around those meetings, and I block it all out as it fit best. So I have my routines set first, my buffer and my lunch, as well as my meetings set first, and then I plug in those items that I said I was going to do for that day, and that's the block. So it is book. You book your meetings and your non-negotiables. You put your items for that week, your to-dos, on the appropriate batch date around those meetings. And then to get really realistic, especially if you are neurodivergent, the last step is to time block out your day in between your meetings, your routines, and making sure to add at least one buffer block. Time blocking your day is the most important part of the planning process because it's what directly guides your action in the day and helps you be more productive. And in this video, I only had enough time to give you a general overview, which is why I want you to watch this video next, where I give you a full breakdown of implementing my 3-7 time blocking method. Until next time, cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.